And welcome to the Golden Age, where we talk about business, investing, and personal finance. And today I'm going to be doing a reaction video to a YouTuber called Dollar Cost Crypto, who's put out a video, a clip from a podcast he did with a group of guys who have a podcast called Fresh and Fit. And the video is called Avoid Getting Wrecked on This Coin. And spoiler alert, he's got some not very nice things to say about Drip.
Dollar cost. Why don't you like Drip? It may sound unsustainable, but it's already shown itself to be sustainable over a year, paying 1% daily. The protocol works.
All right, look, I have guys who actually made a lot of money on Drip and stuff. It's
So right out of the gate, he has to admit what everybody knows, right? That Drip has made people a lot of money, life-changing wealth, right? To lay my cards on the table, this year is when I properly got into crypto, right? I'd done a trading course back in 2018 and the market was really flat and I didn't really make any money. In fact, I think I lost about $200 and called it a day and moved on doing some other things that I was actually making some money from. So roughly this time last year, kind of in late August, early September, I put £13,000 into Drip. Over that time period, from one wallet, I made a roughly £40,000 in profit. So I got all of that £13,000 back and £40,000 on top of that from one wallet. And I now have two wallets and I've put some more money in. In that same time period, Hex has given me and produced zero profit, only loss, right? And I've put into Richard Heart's related projects over the same time period around £25,000. And all of that profit, all of that money that went into Richard Heart's projects has come from Drip, right? I used Drip to buy Hex and to buy into things that Richard Heart's promoting, right? I am absolutely a Richard Heart maximalist, but I'm also a Forex Shark maximalist. Forex Shark is the guy that made Drip, right? And yeah, that's my strategy right now. I'm using Drip to buy Hex. Drip is a more risky protocol. It's higher interest, so there's more volatility, but the risk reward ratio I think is great, right? Like I've been able to make all of that money this year to invest this year. Like Dollar Cost Crypto says, he knows a lot of people that have made a lot of money in Drip.
What is Drip? It's another coin?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's I'm trying to be nice. All right. It's kind of like
So I appreciate the fact that he's trying to be kind, right? He's trying to find another word.
so it's a Ponzi coin basically.
But eventually he calls it a Ponzi coin. This is not, I'm not like trying to have a go at this guy, Dollar Cost Crypto. He has the things that he's invested in and the things that he wants to put money in. And, he has every right to kind of promote those things. That's fine. But I would say that people who are involved in Hex, people who over the last 3 years have seen Hex's name, Richard Heart's name put through the mud, who, when they told their friends and family about this coin, their friends and family Googled it and found all these articles saying that it was a scam and a Ponzi, and had their friends and family think they were stupid and say stupid things. They're like, why are you investing in this? You're crazy, right? Those people should not be saying these same things about other coins just because they have some perceived legitimacy, right? That Hex is kind of gaining some ground. Richard Heart's done some really good marketing work, and people starting to believe in Hex, right? The people that were tar and feathering Hex over the last few years are people who had a vested interest in doing that, right? People who were Bitcoin maxis, people who were Ethereum maxis and had really big bags that they didn't want devalued by some new good-looking upstart like Richard Heart. The same situation is happening here, where these guys have this perceived authority over Drip being a slightly smaller, and we'll come to that in a bit, community, more of a crazy coin or whatever. Perhaps Drip will never quite have the potential kind of front-facing value that Hex will have. It's always just the value proposition of Drip is just a little bit too crazy. It just sounds too wild for the average person, right, to believe. Just really to pull him up on that, like you can't call Drip a Ponzi when you yourself have had your own coin called a Ponzi. And let's just think about this now, actually, how similar these coins are. With Hex, you buy Hex on an exchange, you stake your Hex into the contract. That Hex is burned, it disappears, and maybe if you're lucky, if you staked it out long enough, you get 38% interest annually. And when your stake comes to be matured, then the contract mints out of thin air your principal back plus your interest. And let's compare that now with Drip, right? You buy Drip on an exchange or on the Drip website. You stake that Drip. You don't get your principal back, right? The principal is kind of burned, it goes away. You never get the principal back. You are paid the interest back 1% per day minus 3 fees, minus a 10% fee when you're getting in, when you deposit it into the faucet, and then minus 2 10% fees to take it out of the contract, and then another one to swap it from Drip into BNB. In both cases, right, you are getting paid interest in that coin. So Hex, you are getting paid interest in Hex. If the value of Hex in 15 years and 7 years whenever your stake matures is 0, you made 0 money, right? That's the risk, that's the gamble. Hex is a high risk protocol, right? I know Richard Hart is very confident about the code, but something could go wrong, right? Something could go wrong. It's possible. There could be an inflation bug with Hex, and it would destroy faith in Hex. Richard Hart could have some sort of scandal come out, and it could destroy faith in his projects, right? You are taking a risk, and the same is true with Drip. Just like with Hex, in Drip, you get paid in Drip, right? If the value of Drip goes down to nothing, you made no money. But if the value of Drip goes wildly up, then you make insane gains. And let's just compare those two interest rates. So with Hex, you get 38% annual interest, potentially if you stake it out long enough. With Drip, you get 1% interest per day, 365% interest minus those 3 10% fees, which can be easily overcome if you recompound for more than 30 days, because you're getting 1% back per day that you can choose to take out or recompound. Just like with Hex, you are incentivized to delay gratification, to keep putting money back into the contract, to not take that money out. You're incentivized to do that. With Hex, you're abiding by the promise that you've made to yourself and to the contract to not claim it for a certain number of days. And with Drip, you're incentivized by being able to recompound it, right? With Hex, you are able to recompound over annual compound interest, maximum 38%, maybe more. And with Drip, you get to recompound every damn day. So these two protocols are actually very similar, very, very similar. I know for a fact that Forex Shark has actually modeled some of his other projects on Hex, right? He's modeled the piggy bank from the animal farm on Hex. So these two things are not as different as he's going to try and make out. And
in a way where basically what ends up happening is if you take your coin, you stake it, and then you get paid 1% on your money every day. But the problem is that the coin's price keeps dropping below that. So it's sometimes you're really only making like 10%, like 10% of the profit you should have been making on that 1% a day. So when it was shilled, people were trying to shill it in our chats and stuff, and me and Charlie weren't having it. They were trying to shill it to us when it was.
Okay, so he's talking about the price going down. Let's look at these two different charts. He was saying that one of the problems with Drip is that the price just kept on going down. And yeah, that's true if you look at it from, very kind of blinkered-eyed view, looking at it from January 27th onwards, January through to February. Ever since then, the price has just been going down, right? Pretty much. But actually, if you look at it on a longer-term time frame, the price has had some wild spikes up in volatility. And you're able to get paid $8 every day right now. $8 to $10 to $12 every day. The reason why, if you think about how crazy Drip is, like the idea that it can just print money pretty much, like ongoing every day. If it does that and people claimed every day, if there was fear, right, if they weren't trying to recompound and weren't incentivized to not spend, then it would push the price down. I've done a few yield farms. I know that a bit like with Terra Luna, like a lot of people watch that, right? The price kept on going down, and then it was almost like it went to zero, like absolute zero. Like that's what would happen with Drip if there was an incentive and utility to engage with the game of trying to mine these coins, right? It's basically like kind of a miner. It's like a Bitcoin miner, but part of a game. The utility is that Forex Shark or related projects are using Drip to in yield farms. So they're building yield farms on top of Drip, and you're then able to take your Drip and not sell it, put it into these yield farms and earn some additional reward token. And so this is when I was first watching Drip, and watching this price. And then this was the B farm, right? This is one of these, the first yield farm that was released that was going to use Drip, and it wasn't a super well designed one as I understand it. I just watched this price going up, and I knew about Drip beforehand, and I got excited about it, and I just kind of aped in, right? I wasn't really thinking, but I just knew that it sounded so exciting that I just wanted to put some money in. I bought in roughly from around the $20 to $30 mark, and then I watched the price go all the way down to like roughly like $6 or $7 here, and it was terrifying. Like, yeah, it was not fun. But then the price gradually grew back up, and then during this period here, from kind of December to kind of February time, the price went wild for a little while, and during here I was making about £1,000 a day for about a week. So that's the Drip chart. Yes, he's right, the price has gone down, but only if you have a super blinkered view of it from like here on out. And let's take a look at the Hex chart. So don't these charts actually look really similar? Okay, like how similar are these two charts? These two charts are almost identical in many ways, right? So and Drip, right, the peak was back in January, but actually, like for Hex, the peak was even further away. The peak was back in September. And if you could say the same thing about Hex that he was saying about Drip, oh, the price just keeps going down and people keep trying to buy, and you know, they're actually not making the same amount of money back as they should or whatever. Like, yeah, the same could be said about Hex, right? If you bought and then you staked it, actually kind of lost money. You might as well have just waited for it to reach its bottom and then buy. And that's not really even a criticism of Hex. Like, if you believe in a product, if you believe in the future of a project, then you should buy the dip. You should buy the top and the dip, right? Like, that's how I found out about Hex, is I watched this price going up from around 10 cents. I kind of knew about it around here, and I watched the price going up. I was like, wow, I want some of that. And I bought in, I think the maximum I bought in was around 30 cents. And then I watched the price go down, and I bought in again here, and I'm getting ready to buy in again somewhere around here as well. So again, I just don't think that criticizing the fact that the price has gone down in a bear market, that these are kind of substantial criticisms that should be leveled on Drip, especially if Hex has done the same.
$160. It's like $7.
Shill it, what does that mean? Like,
that means they're trying to like
push it on y'all.
Push it, Miguel, Charlie, talk about it to your guys. Talk to your 8,000 guys so they can all buy it, so we can pump our coin. And like that's what they're trying to do. It was $160. It's $7 today.
Damn,
last time I looked at it, $7.
So let's just compare these two things, right? So this is what he was talking about, right? And obviously different charts have different amounts. But if we look at that decrease, that drop, right, from $173 to $7, as he's saying, it's actually slightly up now, but yeah, that's a 95% drop. Okay, let's compare Drip. From it again, different chart. I think Richard Hart said that there was a wick up to 55 cents, but from 49 cents on the Nomics chart to 5 cents, which is roughly where it's at right now, that's an 89% drop. So roughly 90% compared with 95% drop, right? These two things are in the same ballpark, and they're like, wow, oh my god, no way. It's just silly, right? It's silly that you're leveling these criticisms at Drip that are the exact same criticisms anyone could have of your coin.
So literally, they were trying to get our dudes in at the tippy top, so they.
Okay, so this is something I you know, like he's kind of made some hints towards this as well, like, you know, you're making out kind of nefariousness, right? That there was this intention that people in Drip had where they wanted to get people to buy the top and be their exit liquidity, right? And I think that's an unfair characterization of people. And let's just watch Richard Hart here talk about this subject.
People don't realize, like, the reason that so many people buy tops is because you couldn't have bought the bottom because you didn't hear about it until the price ran up a lot. Like, the reason you heard about it is because the price ran up a lot. If it didn't run up a lot, you wouldn't have heard about it, and then you couldn't have bought it. And so there's this natural tendency to, like, buy tops because that's when people let you know that it exists. So it's like it adds to the reflexivity. That particular form of reflexivity is different than the I want to buy it because it seems more valuable, because it is, literally. I want to buy it because it is more valuable. Like, there are people that prefer to pay more. And when they could pay less, they don't want it anymore because it's too cheap.
People buy in out of excitement, right? Like, that's kind of what a peak is. When the price goes up like this, it's an excitement bubble. It's a bubble of excitement. And I myself, right, let's have a look at this chart here. So this is kind of a famous, the famous Wall Street cheat sheet, psychology of a market cycle. And when the price was going up, this big spike here, right? I had optimism, I had belief, I went through these different phases, like I went through thrill, and eventually you get to euphoria. And I can't super relate to this, like, I am a genius thing, because I really only kind of locked into this coin. Like, I had a friend that told me about it and, kind of aped in. So I didn't take any kind of personal credit for that. But I certainly thought, because I had thousands of drip tokens at this point when the price went up, and they were each worth at least kind of 170, 180, depending on the chart you're looking at, dollars. And I did think at that time, what it says here, we are all going to be rich, right? I had so many of these coins, I was thinking I'm going to splash it around everywhere, and I did. Like, so that's when I got a whole load of my friends and family into this coin, because I told them about Drip because I'd made so much money, right? I'd been keeping it a secret up until then because I thought I'd lost money, right? Like, when it went down to $7, I thought I'd lost money and I felt like an idiot, right? And I only wanted to tell people about it when I'd made money. And when I did, I wanted to get my friends into it and give them the opportunity to win big as well, right? And that's when I got a whole load of my friends and family in. It's actually easier when the price has gone up to make people buy, right? I wish people would buy the dip. I want more of my friends and family to buy the dip right now, but they won't listen to me, okay? But yeah, like, you know, so when he's saying like shilling as if it's some sort of negative thing, like people were trying to trick people from other communities into buying it. That's just not the case. That is absolutely not the case. People were being generous, right? Like, I wanted my friends and family to be rich like me. We are all going to be rich. That was the feeling that I had, right? Yeah, so I disagree on this kind of nefariousness that he's kind of insinuating there.
We could use our money as like exit liquid. This is what we do to protect our guys, because if we found it and we're like, you know what, let's get into it, let's make the huge run and then sell it and stuff. No, we do not use our guys for like exit liquidity or anything. We're trying to protect our guys from getting used as exit liquidity.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, there's guys that make these coins just like NFTs or something. Like, these people that make these coins, they have millions of coins, but they're like, okay, crap, but I can't sell in this stuff because if I sell it, it'll go to zero. Let me try to get all these people to buy it up right now. Then there's tons of exchange money going into it, and then I can just get out of it.
Yeah, pull the rug out. Just exactly what a lot of these people do NFTs.
What they both do, specifically Charlie. Like, if you throw, like we'll do that like in the webinars, they'll throw a coin out there, just like Drip, just like they're doing now, and Charlie will pull up the chart and he'll say, look, here's why, here's what's going on, because all of this data.
This is why your coin sucks, asshole.
Data, and look at the chart and say, look, this is what's going on. These guys are dumping on your head.
Yeah.
Bam.
You know, and you could avoid a mistake like that.
Charlie.
Okay, so that's the end of the clip. And if he's correct in saying that dollar cost crypto and Charlie, as he mentioned here, that they have done maybe an analysis of Drip, I'm certainly going to check that out. If they've done some sort of longer form, more substantial criticism of it, I'd certainly be interested to see. But as you can tell, like, there really, I mean, it was a short section, right? But there really isn't anything substantial here in terms of criticism. And actually, in a way, like, if you're putting your reputation on having like, you know, good criticism of projects, you shouldn't really be putting this out. Like, every single thing that has been a criticism that he's aimed at Drip has been something that you could say exactly the same thing about Hex. So I'm gonna round this out by just like finishing a few points. So the reason why Drip has gone down in value, other than obviously it's in a bear market right now, is because of these yield farms are being built on top of Drip, right? And this yield farm was Animal Farm. And Animal Farm, the reason why the price went down after the launch, other than just, you know, selling off like it was went really high, Animal Farm was paused because some people were front running the price and trying to make money out of smaller investors. Yeah, so there were issues with Animal Farm that meant it was paused, and it's kind of half open again now. And I've got I've put a fair amount. I put about £2,000 into the piggy bank, and I'm seeing some crazy returns from that. Very impressed with that. But yeah, it was paused for a while, and this is at least part of the reason why the price has dropped, and also part of the reason why the price is going to go back up again. Maybe not to this extent, but it certainly is going to have another peak soon once the Animal Farm is fully launched. We are waiting for a product to be produced by a developer, right? In the Drip community, we're waiting for a product to be produced by a developer. And that's not so dissimilar from something that's happening in the Hex community. This is a post from the Hexologist, and they're talking about Pulse Chain and Pulse X, and obviously it's a meme. You know, the Pulse testnet is live, Pulse is live, and the guy has basically aged and died. It's the same situation almost, right? Very similar situation about what we're waiting for and what's going to push the price back up. Yeah. Okay, and so I'm going to finish up by just talking about the Telegram groups. So I think one of the mistakes maybe that Dollar Cost Crypto is making is that he's assuming that these two groups are separate. That they don't have anything in common, and that when he's criticizing Drip, he's not criticizing anybody that's into Hex, and that is just false. Okay, I am obviously one of those exceptions, but I would say there are a lot more. I know of a fair few YouTubers who are in both projects. Let's just have a look at the size of these different communities. Okay, we could look at Richard Hart's Instagram, which has 60,000 followers. We could look at his Twitter, which has 250,000, you know, like a 250,000 followers. But those are the results of some of his marketing work, some of his crazy trolling, all this flash, cash and clothing and stuff he's waving around. If we want to just look at the actual size of the real community, the ardent followers, the people that are actually involved day to day with these projects, let's look at the Telegram groups. You know, Telegram and Discord is where it's happening, not Twitter. And the size of a Forex Shark's Telegram is 16,790, right? Nearly 17,000, okay? Richard Hart's is 18,143. So there's only about 1,000 difference in the size of these two communities right there. And at least on those metrics. And then if we look on the Drip's official Telegram has 32,200, and Hex's has 36,800, right? So nearly 37,000. So Hex is winning in both cases by a slim margin. This is not, you know, these are not huge differences. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I'm just going to end this by saying I think that Drip is an amazing project, and like I say, I've made a whole ton of money from it this year. And if you're interested in checking out Drip for the first time or setting up a second wallet, I have a Drip team. It's called Drip Flipper, and for a limited time only, you can sign up like a cool ocean breeze and receive a 10.666% welcome bonus sent directly to you if you send me a message on Telegram. So check that out, and I'll see you on the next video.